Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. The morning sun rose over Manhattan like it always did, golden, hopeful, alive. But inside Kelly Ripa's penthouse apartment, the light felt cruel, too bright, too ordinary for a day that would forever divide her life into before and after. Kelly sat at the kitchen table, her hands wrapped tightly around a mug of coffee she hadn't touched. The steam curled upward, fading into nothing, much like the sense of certainty she once carried. Across from her sat Mark Consuelos, her partner, her anchor, her greatest love. He looked the same at first glance, strong jaw, familiar smile trying desperately to reassure her. But something had changed. Something invisible yet devastating. The silence between them was heavier than words. "Say it again," Kelly whispered, her voice trembling. "Please." Mark swallowed hard. "The tests were clear," he said gently. "Too clear." That was when the world cracked open. Kelly and Mark's love story had always felt untouchable, like a modern fairy tale. From their soap opera beginnings to decades of marriage, raising children, and building an empire of laughter on morning television, they were the couple everyone believed in. The proof that love could survive fame, time, and chaos. They teased each other on air, finished each other's sentences, and shared glances that spoke volumes. Viewers often joked that watching live felt like peeking into a real marriage. Messy, hilarious, and deeply affectionate. But fairy tales, Kelly would later realize, never show what happens when the laughter stops. It started subtly. Mark forgot things, small things at first, where he'd left his phone, the name of a longtime colleague. Kelly laughed it off, teasing him the way she always had. "Getting old, Consuelos?" she joked one morning. He smiled, but his eyes flickered with something else, fear. Then came the headaches, the sudden exhaustion, the way Mark would sometimes pause mid-sentence, searching for words that had always come so easily to him. Kelly noticed everything. She always had. But denial is powerful when the truth feels unbearable. "It's stress," she told herself. "We're both working too much." Until the night he didn't come home on time. Kelly still remembers the sound of her phone hitting the floor. Mark had collapsed on set during a rehearsal, disoriented, confused, unable to explain what was happening. By the time Kelly reached the hospital, her heart felt like it was tearing itself apart with every step. Machines beeped softly around him. Doctors spoke in calm, careful tones. Words like neurological, progressive, advanced floated through the air like weapons. Kelly held Mark's hand, pressing her forehead to it. "You're going to be okay," she whispered over and over, as if saying it enough times could make it true. Mark squeezed her hand weakly. "If I forget," he said quietly, "promise me you'll remember for both of us." That was when Kelly broke. The diagnosis came days later, delivered in a sterile room that felt too small to contain the grief it created. A rare, aggressive neurological condition. Progressive, irreversible, life-altering. Kelly didn't hear the rest. The words echoed endlessly in her mind, drowning out everything else. She stared at the doctor's lips moving, but understood only one thing. The future had just been rewritten. Fame, money, or love could undo what was coming. In public, Kelly Ripa was still Kelly Ripa, smiling, professional, witty. She showed up to work, delivered her lines, laughed on cue. But behind closed doors, she unraveled. She cried in the shower so her children wouldn't hear. She sobbed into Mark's pillow at night, clutching his scent like a lifeline. She raged at the universe for being so cruel to a man who had done nothing but love fiercely. Some nights she screamed into the darkness. "This isn't fair," she whispered through tears. "Take anything else, just not him." Mark watched her with heartbreaking clarity. Even as his own strength faltered, his instinct was still to protect her. "I'm still here," he told her one night, brushing her cheek. "Don't mourn me while I'm breathing." But Kelly already felt the loss creeping in. As the months passed, the diagnosis became impossible to hide. Mark struggled with lines. His energy faded. The once unshakable confidence gave way to moments of confusion and frustration. Each change felt like another piece of him slipping away. Kelly became his shield. She adjusted schedules, canceled appearances, and quietly stepped back from opportunities she once chased fearlessly. None of it mattered anymore. The only thing that mattered was time. They revisited memories, laughing about their early days, flipping through old photos, reliving the chaos of raising kids in the spotlight. "I married you for life," Kelly said one evening, her voice steady despite the tears in her eyes. "Whatever that looks like now." Mark smiled softly. "Then I chose the right woman." When the diagnosis was finally revealed publicly, the reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Fans flooded social media with messages of love, prayers, and disbelief. Co-hosts struggled to maintain composure on air. Friends and colleagues spoke of Mark's kindness, his strength, his warmth. But nothing prepared viewers for Kelly's on-air confession. Her voice cracked as she addressed the audience. "We've always shared our lives with you, the laughter, the chaos, the love. But today, we share something harder." She paused, tears streaming freely. "Mark is facing the fight of his life, and so are we." The studio fell silent. Millions of hearts broke with hers. The cruelest truth Kelly learned was this: loss doesn't always come with a funeral. Sometimes it comes slowly, moment by moment, memory by memory. Sometimes you lose someone while they're still sitting beside you, holding your hand. There were days Mark was still fully himself, joking, loving, present, and days when he retreated into confusion, frustration, and quiet sadness. Kelly cherished the good days like stolen treasures. She learned to let go of the idea of control, to love fiercely in uncertainty, to find joy where she could, and above all, to grieve without giving up. One night, as they lay in bed, Mark turned to Kelly. "If this changes me," he said softly, "promise you won't stop loving who I was." Kelly kissed his forehead, her tears soaking into his skin. "I don't love you because you're perfect. I love you because you're you, every version." In that moment, grief and gratitude existed side by side. The strength Kelly never knew she had. Kelly Ripa's breakdown wasn't a moment of weakness, it was a testament to the depth of her love. She learned to be strong without being unbreakable, to cry openly, to ask for help, to sit with pain instead of running from it. She became an advocate, a caregiver, and a voice for families facing invisible battles. And through it all, she remained Mark's greatest champion. This is not a story with a neat conclusion. Mark's journey continues, uncertain and challenging. Kelly walks beside him every step, even when the path is dark. Their love, tested, bruised, and reshaped, remains unshaken. Because even in tragic loss, even in devastating diagnosis, one truth stands tall. Some loves don't fade, they transform. And Kelly Ripa's love for Mark Consuelos, raw, painful, and fiercely loyal, will endure long after the cameras stop rolling.